In this video, I'll be talking about the horrible coaching decisions made by Matt Eberflus during a stint with the Chicago Bears. I'm a Bears fan, so I had a first-hand experience to many of the bad decisions he made, and without further ado, let's get into the video. But first, some quick background knowledge. Following the 2021 NFL season, Matt Nagy was fired after a disappointing year by the Chicago Bears. So the Bears were in the market for a new head coach. They ended up picking Matt Eberflus, who was the former defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts from 2018 to 2021. And Eberflus actually started out well. He won his first game, being the 49ers 19-10 in the monsoon game, but it all go down from there. The Bears would then go on to lose a bad game to our rival, the Packers, 27-10. Not a good look. The Bears would go on to the next game against the Texans, a struggling team, and would actually come out to win 23-20 in a very close game. That really shouldn't have been that close. Next up, they played the Giants, where they suffered a bad loss, losing 20-12 against a bad Giants team. Next up, they played the Vikings, another loss, 29-22, where they tried to come back, but it just didn't happen. Next up, they played the Commanders. They lost 12-7. This was one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen from a team. The one highlight of the game, which was a Bears 40-plus yard touchdown pass, a Dante pass, was cut off because of an ad, and it was just a horrible game. This is where the doubt started rolling in. But then the next week, we bounced off with a great win against the Patriots, winning 33-14. Then would suffer a bad loss to the Cowboys, 49-29. Next up, we played the Dolphins, where we lost 35-32. Though we did get a no call from the refs, where there should have been pass interference on the DBs covering Chase Claypool. That was not called. Then we played the Lions, where we lost 31-30 off a Cairo Santos missed extra point that would, ultimately lead to the Lions winning. We lost a close one to the Falcons the next week, 27-24. Next week, we would get absolutely slammed by the Jets, losing 31-10. Then we go to play the Packers, lose 28-19. Go play the Eagles, where even after a Justin Fields masterclass, we lose 25-20. We play the Bills, where we lose 35-13, and then we get stomped out by the Lions, 41-10, and then we go on to play our last game against the Vikings, losing 29-13. So it was an overall disappointing season. Going 3-14, but it was a bad roster. You really couldn't blame it on Eberflus too much, even though there's some bad moments here and there. But they decided to give him another chance for the next year. So, up to this point, Eberflus hadn't done anything too wrong. It's just the team was not doing great, which was kind of expected. But there's some hopes going to the 2023 season that Justin Fields could have a breakout year and the Bears could do good. But this wouldn't start off well. We'd lose to the Packers 38-20 in week 1. We'd then lose to Tampa Bay, going down 27-17, which Justin Fields looked, I'm not going to lie, horrible in that game. Next up, we lose to the Kansas City Chiefs, 41-10, and we'd blow a 21-point lead to the Denver Broncos and lose 31-28. So we started off 0-4, but then we bounced back with a really good win against the Washington Commanders, winning 40-20. Then we lose to the Minnesota Vikings, 19-13. Then we go to Las Vegas and get a good win there, 30-12. And then we go to Los Angeles against the Chargers and lose 30-13. Go to New Orleans, lose 24-17. And during this time, Fields was injured. He was out with an injury. We go to Carolina, where we barely squeak out a win, 16-13 against a bad Carolina team. Go to Detroit, where we lose 31-26 in a close matchup. And a horrible offensive game against the Minnesota Vikings. We'd squeak out a win, 12-10. We then go to Detroit, where we'd actually pull off a win, 28-13, and then we'd go to Cleveland, where Joe Flacco would light us up, and we'd lose 20-17, which would eliminate us from playoff contention because we were doing really well up to here. We were actually bouncing back. We technically could have made the playoffs, but that Cleveland win sealed us out. We go on to win against the Cardinals and then the Falcons. And Fields had a great game against the Falcons, and they actually wanted to keep him. The fans did. We then go to Green Bay, where we lose the last game of the season. Now, again, just like I said before, going into the 2024 season, Eberflus wasn't seen as a good coach, but he's only a little bit on the hot seat. He really hadn't made too many bad coaching decisions. The Bears obviously weren't winning games. They did make an improvement in 2023 where they went 7-10, while in 2022 they did go 3-14. And Eberflus was kind of expected to perform this year with new rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. And we started off with a win against the Titans where Williams did not look good, the offense didn't look good, but the defense and special teams pulled through. We won 24-17. Then we'd face a good Texans team where we lose 13-19, where Caleb Williams did not look great, if we're being honest. We then go on to Indianapolis, where we lost a game that we really should have won. We lost 16-21, and, the hopes were kind of, draining a little bit here. We really should have won that game, but hey, we could bounce back against the Rams. We did. We won 24-18, and Caleb Williams had a solid game. He showed that he can be a game manager and win games for us. We then go on to Carolina, where we'd have a great game, 36-10. Williams looked great, and now we're sitting at a 3-2 record. We go on to Jacksonville. We'd play in London, and we'd win 35-16. We were looking great, 4-2. Then it was a Washington game. At the goal line, you could blame this on the offensive coordinator. I'm blanking on his name right now, or Eberflus. They handed off to our backup center, Doug Kramer, a game where we're losing right now, and he fumbles the football. Thank goodness our defense would get a stop, and Williams would do a great job downfield, where we'd end up scoring where we score a touchdown to take the lead within 13 seconds. But Eberflus decides not to use any of his timeouts on the last play of the game, just to make sure his defense is aligned right. And we end up losing off that infamous Hail Mary. We're now 4-3. Horrible loss. But it's not the end of the season. We're still over 500. We lose 9-29 against the Arizona Cardinals. A team we could have beat, but we were cold. Then we lose 3-19 against the New England Patriots. A game where we totally should have won. We're now 4-5. We lose to Green Bay 19-20 off a blocked field goal. We're now 4-6. We lose a close one to Minnesota in overtime, 30-27. We're 4-7. Many fans were already calling for Eberflus to be fired at this point, but this was not the breaking point for the Bears staff. I don't know how it wasn't. We'd go to Detroit, where we lose 20-23, where we had a timeout left. Eberflus, we're at the Detroit's 20 or 30 yard line. We have a timeout left. We have about 30 seconds on the clock. The play's taking forever to get off, and we're not calling a timeout. So the last play is a ball thrown up to Rome Odunze that's not caught, and we lose the game. He got fired after that game. We'd go to lose to San Fran 38-13, lose to Minnesota 12-30, lose to Detroit 34-17. Then I'd see another horrible game where we lost to Seattle 6-3. And then we'd actually get a nice win, 24-22 against the Packers. But that's besides the point. Eberflus in the 2024 season was horrible with his coaching decisions. Against Tennessee in week 1, they schemed up bad plays for Williams. And we lose a game against Indianapolis, which we really should have won. Then we'd have a good stint with a 3-game win streak against LA, Carolina, Jacksonville. And then we lost with the Hail Mary to Washington, and that's where the season crumbled. We then go on to obviously have a cold streak, lose to Arizona, New England, 2 teams we should have beat, lose off a blocked field again to Green Bay, lose to Minnesota in overtime, and then, the breaking point where you lost to Detroit where Eberflus didn't call that timeout. I think the Detroit game was the worst coaching game I've ever seen, and I've only been watching NFL for 3-4 years. I only started watching the Bears since 2021, late 2021, and I think that was the worst I've ever seen. It was absolutely horrible. I think I could have made a better decision. But thank you for listening to my rant about Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus is now the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, which I actually think was a solid move for him. I think he's great at defense. I mean, obviously he's a defensive coordinator in Indianapolis. I just don't think he's obviously fit for the head coaching role. But yeah, thank you for watching.